Hello and welcome to my no-buy check-in for February. We are 2 months down this challenge. We still have 10 more to go, but we are trying our best to stay on track. And we're going to talk about how much I spent, where did all my money go, because I meticulously track it in the joy that is my bullet journal. Where is the page where I've written all of the chaos for your viewing pleasure? Somehow, this page here, where I'm tracking my money, also my habits, that's just my 2026 cover page, has all the answers to whether or not I am surviving my no-buy intentions. And I realized, because I've done 3 of these before, I actually have my previous year's results. And I thought one thing I love is a bit of Monica Geller competition with myself activity. So I will be comparing current me to previous me in terms of just like the numbers for fun, because it doesn't really matter, with myself. And so I can look at those numbers and tell you. So let's jump in with all the money and where on earth it went. So the first area is bills, the thing that keeps us all surviving and functioning. I spent a total of 557 franc and 38 rappen. The new addition to my bills, which I am slightly furious about, but maybe I'm just being overly dramatic, is now that I have to pay, because I turned 30, so now my Swiss bank account is charging me 10 franc per month just to have a bank account. Like, I don't get any interest. I have barely any money going in there because it's just my like little cleaning job salary, and they charge me 10 franc a month just to have it. Like, I'm mad. And I have to work out what to do. I found a way that I could make it down to 5 franc, but I still have to wait 2 more months for that to kick in. And so I still have to pay another, I guess, 20 franc of these fees, because also, for whatever reason, they charge the fees like a month and a half or 2 months after the month of when they're actually charging. It doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, the rest of that was then phone, health insurance, and my rent. The next area was groceries. I spent 208 franc and 55 rappen. I am very happy because I halved my groceries from the previous month. The previous month I spent 440 franc. So that was because I did a huge shop in Germany. I didn't do one of those because I was still using up the food from January, and I consciously am kind of, even though I am doing like a project pan with all my groceries and cosmetics, I've also decided to somewhat roughly apply that to my pantry. I am trying to use up the random packs of quinoa or polenta or beans and eat the nuts and the random nut butter that I have and that jam that's been sitting there for ages. So I'm really wanting to kind of go through everything in my pantry. I also have too many cans of tuna fish, and I don't really like tuna fish, but I think after the pandemic, is it other people as well? After the pandemic, I now hoard food in an unnecessary way, and I feel like there must be other people out there doing that, because we kind of saw what happened and that was sort of terrifying. And so I now live with like this stockpile of food, which is fine to have a little bit of backup, but like then you don't use it, because I have stockpiles of food that I don't normally use, because I was thinking like, well, you always have to have like beans or lentils or something in case you can't shop for a while. I don't know, we're on a huge tangent, but I halved my groceries in half, and so I'm very, very happy. And I would like to try and keep it in that 200, 250 range per month. And I guess once every 3 months we might up it when we do a bigger shop in Germany, but we'll see how that goes in the coming weeks, months as we track. The next area was eating out. I did go to Fasnacht in Switzerland. It was so much fun. I went first to Liestal. There was like this big parade with wagons full of wood and fire, and it was the most amazing, crazy thing ever. And I feel like you could never get away with that in other countries, because they'd just be like, it's too dangerous. But here it was just normal, and people were roasting their sausages as these big wagons of fire were going past.
Was ist viel besser?
And then in the like later that evening, or the early hours of the morning at 4 a.m., I went to the Morgenstreik in Basel and saw just like all the different groups, the different clique, like walking around, and they play with the drums and they play with the little piccolo pipes. And then I also went the next few days a bit during the day just to watch it. It was so cool. It was just something so different. If you ever are in Switzerland in kind of the end of February time, you have to check when it is. I think it changes a bit. Go to Fasnacht, just like see it. It's just such a different cultural experience, and especially to like see the Swiss that are quite an organized, ordered society. Like most of the gardens are always very well kept. Like everything runs on time. Everything is very like structured. And then suddenly they just all start throwing confetti at each other and drinking throughout like 3 days and parading around with these amazing wild costumes that they create. It was just the coolest experience and I really loved it. I've gone previous years as well, but this year I really embraced the Fasnacht thing, and I even like took a day, 2 days off school just to be able to enjoy it because it was really, really fun and just so. Yeah, like wagons go past and then they throw food at you, and so you can also just eat and enjoy that. But I did spend a little bit of money. I spent 19 franc and 50 cents, which is nothing, and that's partly because when you're at Fastnacht, they're like throwing out candy and oranges and popcorn and order some things. They just like throw it at the crowd. So yeah, I didn't really have to spend so much money to enjoy it, but it was really, really fun. Yeah, the next area was travel. This month I spent 10 franc and 37 rappen, and that was just on gas. My housemate has a car and she's very kind and lets me use it sometimes. And so then I just filled up the tank. And I will also in March, yeah, because we're like at the end of the month. So I guess, yeah, it will count for next month. I'll have to fill it up put a lot more money than I spent this month because I used the car a lot more the last few days for school. It was like the last week of school and I was like running around trying to do different things. So for February, that is everything I spent, which means I didn't purchase any random unnecessary physical items. I was slightly tempted because one of my favorite brands has started to like obviously release the spring collection of things that is the challenge of the changing of the seasons, and then it's like my favorite dresses and they are so beautiful and I have quite a few, but I don't need more. But I am going to have to continue to remind myself that during March. But yeah, that was kind of tempting. And also, I really want to get another pair of my shoes that I have from Australia. So I am thinking about maybe when someone comes over to visit to ask them for that, but I haven't done it yet. But I was contemplating that quite a lot this month. But other than that, I did quite well. I was also sick for 2 of the weeks of February, the beginning of February. So that also meant like I was at home, and that also makes a big difference because I'm not in the world. I'm not so tempted, I guess. And I'm just not a huge online shopper. I am a little bit with a few brands that I like, but otherwise I don't really shop online. So it requires me to be kind of involved a bit more in the world for me to shop. So I guess that makes a big difference. Yeah, if you can convince yourself that online shopping is just bad and you have to go into a store to do it, then maybe it could be more helpful with your no buy. And that's another thing, I guess, for context is like, yeah, I do live in kind of a smaller town. I don't live in a city. I definitely would find doing a no buy very, very hard when I lived in a city. And I know that from previous years when I did the challenge, I was going with clients to like shopping centers and things like that because I was like a direct support care person, and that's what they wanted to do. And so then when you're walking past things, you're getting like impressions of stuff to buy, then it is much harder to kind of stick to a no buy, depending on what your circumstances is. So yeah, maybe you have to just like never walk into a store to like not tempt yourself. But anyway, the total that I spent for February was 995 franc and 80 rap, and I am so happy with that because it's one under 1,000 franc, which is what I really try to do to achieve financial functionality with the reality of how much I bring in. Obviously last month I purchased flights that was like 450 franc, so that's a big difference that that's not there. And yeah, I don't know, February's only shorter by like 3 days or like 2 days, but it feels like, no, 3 days, but it feels like it makes a big difference financially for some reason. And what was beautiful about this month is that I did make a lot more money. I was back a bit more to my normal cleaning routine because the previous paycheck came from Christmas when I was away. And then I also did a little bit of extra help, some babysitting, just to like, I was like mostly helping out a friend because they needed some help. Their au pair quit really fast on them. And so, yeah, and then they ended up giving me some money. So that was really nice. So I spent like basically 800 franc, but I did make 900 franc, 901 franc and 70 cents. So that was really fun. I think this is probably the first month in the last 3 or 2 years, 3 years, I guess, since 2023, that I have actually been able to have made more money than I spent. So this is a massive milestone for me, and I'm very, very happy. Partly that's just like circumstances of the month being slightly different, but it's also because I am now consciously trying not to buy things that I really don't need, and it is making a huge difference. So February, I have purchased no things. January, I also didn't purchase anything. So that means that my current amount so far this year is 0. When I did my first no buy in 2020, at this point in the year, I had purchased 8 things. In 2021, my second no buy year, I had purchased 7. But in 2022, I had also purchased 0. So there is an improvement. We can see the competition. I am currently in an equal running with the 2022 me. And yeah, it's just kind of fun to see that because I did really take on a no buy in these other years, but in the beginning, like I broke it, and I know that that happens a lot for people. And yeah, the main thing I would like to say or do with my channel or with my updates, just keep going. Like, doesn't matter how bad in quotation marks you do, you just keep going, because that is what over time makes a difference. Like, we think that we can become fluent with something really fast, and we get disappointed when we don't see fast results. Like, if you compared quitting shopping to learning a language, like how long it takes to learn how to just introduce yourself or count to 10 or practice these basic phrases of how are you, that's not necessarily something you can get after a few lessons. It takes multiple times of improving and practicing. And I think that's the same thing with anything you're trying to teach yourself. And for whatever reason, we have this impression that we have to become perfect or execute or be really good at something really fast, and that's not how it is. It's all the effort, the slow compounded effort and intention you put towards something that really can improve or give you different results. So that is my update. Oh, I have one thing that I did get given. It was just like a free thing, like a hand cream. Someone didn't want it anymore, and so they asked if I wanted it. And yeah, I'm addicted to free stuff. It's kind of a bit silly because I am trying to project pan and everything, but it smells nice, and I did think I could use it on my feet. So we will see. But that's one thing. I guess for transparency's sake, I did receive one item that was already pre-used by someone else, and they didn't like it, but now I'm working on it. We have a little line so we can see how fast I can into pan that into non-existence. And I guess that's another element is if you are doing a project pan, and that's what's actually helped with my pantry, is because I was really trying to move through all the random things that have been sitting in my pantry. I was then like, okay, I definitely don't need to buy any unnecessary stuff when I went to the supermarket. And also then with like cosmetics, like when you're actively really trying to use what you already have, I'm also kind of secretly trying to pan some pens because I really want to work through them. I just have like random pens sitting around. And when you start doing that and you realize how much it takes to really use what you already have, then that also just inspires you to buy less stuff because you're like, wow, I have enough stationery to last me like 3 lifetimes. Anyway, that's enough rambling from me. I hope that you are doing very, very well. Thank you so much for watching. If you're doing a no buy or low buy, I am always very thrilled to hear from you in the comments below. Otherwise, I feel like it's just me speaking into the void of the internet. Yeah. Okay. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye.